I know I'm far from the first person to be making a video covering this situation, and I know that there are better videos covering it to watch, but this is something I feel needs to be addressed considering my role in this whole situation. When I say my role, I don't mean I played a big part in it. Kwite nor Orion know who I am or know that I even exist. But that doesn't mean I didn't have a part to play in this situation. Countless people had a part to play in this situation. If you're not aware of what happened, about a month ago Orion posted a tweet longer stating that he was manipulated and raped by Kwite back in 2018. The accusations swept across Twitter and YouTube like wildfire, with countless people backing up Orion. People were outraged, to say the very least. Several videos were posted covering the accusations, countless Twitter posts spread the tweet longer and the information that Orion had presented, and Kwite's Twitter, Discord, and YouTube were all being berated with comments demanding to know what was going on, or just flat out calling him a rapist. It wasn't until a couple days ago that Kwite had released an hour-and-a-half long video covering his side of the story that the tides began to change. In this video, Kwite had gone into lengthy detail about very personal information about himself and his history with Orion, combating everything Orion had said about him from just about every possible angle. Kwite was transphobic? No. In fact, Orion was being transphobic to himself around Kwite, trying to get him to boost his self-esteem. Kwite had raped him? No. In fact, several people who know Kwite personally, and even Kwite himself, have all stated that he is extremely anxious about having sex with other people, and even being physically touched by anyone unless he's in a romantic relationship with them. Kwite was manipulative? No. In fact, if anyone was manipulative, it was Orion. This is possibly the best video I've seen ever made about this kind of situation. Kwite was accused of absolutely horrific things, and instead of just jumping the gun and immediately going on the defensive, he took the time to carefully comb through his DMs with Orion. He planned out exactly what he was going to say to combat Orion's accusations in a calm and rational manner. He presented countless screenshots providing his side of the story, whereas Orion would demand that people stop asking him for more evidence to back his claims, and even blocking people who asked for it. A lot of the things that Kwite had shown evidence for has actually turned the tides on Orion dramatically. I'm gonna go ahead and say that I think Orion is a manipulative attention seeker and a leech. That's just what I got from this situation. Not only did Orion falsely accuse Kwite of raping him or being transphobic and manipulating him, among other things, but it was revealed that Orion was extremely manipulative of Kwite. He, on countless occasions, would make Kwite uncomfortable, constantly ignored and pushed his boundaries when being told what they were, gave out extremely personal information about Kwite, like his real face, the fact he struggled with self-harming, all kinds of things that Kwite was extremely uncomfortable with people he didn't know being told. I want to clarify why I think he's a manipulative attention seeker and a leech. According to Kwite, Orion would frequently message him when he fell down depressive spirals, where he would state transphobic things about himself to Kwite, forcing Kwite to constantly try and prop him back up again. That alone isn't an issue. I mean, I've vented to my friends before too whenever I was going through depressive spirals and needed to be reminded that my friends cared about me and what I was feeling was valid. What is an issue is when he became so extremely codependent on Kwite that he couldn't fathom when Kwite would talk to other people or make new friends because he was afraid he would be replaced. Kwite did a livestream once, and Orion had noticed that he and his guest were vibing and were really friendly with each other, and most people would think nothing much of it. Orion, on the other hand, DM'd Kwite not long after the stream and asked him questions along the lines of, "Do you still like me?" and "Are we still friends?" all because Kwite got along with his guest on one stream. To me, that comes across as extremely clingy. Like, an unhealthy kind of clinginess. He would also borderline harass Kwite into making him a moderator on his Discord server, and when he was promoted, would post information about Kwite that he had not consented to being shared and had to be told numerous times to stop doing that. It got to the point where Kwite said he didn't feel right with having Orion as a moderator and he was demoted, to which he would beg and harass Kwite to get him to promote him again, after being told no multiple times. There was a time where Orion asked Kwite if he could add him in his server to ask him questions, and that to me came across as him trying to flaunt to the other members that he knows Kwite and that they're at least friends. Hence one reason why I think he's a leech. This new information that came out about Orion and his behavior just makes him seem really unhinged. In the wake of this dumpster fire, Kwite has decided to go on an indefinite hiatus from which he may not return from. This whole situation has had such a negative effect on him that he's now begun to question if making content on YouTube is worth it anymore. Not only is it extremely saddening to know that this has had such a profoundly negative effect on Kwite that doing something he enjoyed has now been potentially permanently soured by this experience, but it fills me with such extreme anger towards Orion. I'm convinced at this point that Orion is a pathological liar and a snake, and I hope he stays far away from Kwite. Now, I want to talk about my involvement in this situation. Like I said, it was minor, but I wouldn't feel right if I didn't address it. Yes, I'm one of the countless people who perpetuated the lies that Orion spread about Kwite. When I first saw the TweetLonger post, I had a lot of things going through my head. I was extremely conflicted on what was unfolding in front of me. In the back of my mind, I had this feeling that Orion might be bullshitting, and that Kwite might be innocent. But there were a lot of people who were spreading the call-out post from Orion and demanding answers, and Kwite's silence had started leading me to believe that what Orion was saying was true. So, I started demanding answers too. I started leaving comments on YouTube videos covering the situation, perpetuating what Orion had claimed like it was fact. I thought the best thing to do would be to stand behind someone who I believed had gone through a horrific assault, instead of standing behind a potential rapist just because I liked his content. I didn't allow myself to second guess what Orion had stated, because I thought I would have been adding to potential trauma that Orion could have been experiencing. I was molested on a number of occasions when I was in high school. I struggle with PTSD because of it. It's something that continues to haunt me to this day in the form of flashbacks, nightmares, and at times have thought, what if it happens again? What if it gets worse next time? My personal pain from my own experiences have clouded my judgment in this situation, and I worried that if I had sided with Kwite or even taken a neutral stance, that I would be causing Orion further harm. And I would have never been able to live with myself or sleep at night if I had done that. But now, here I am, knowing that I had defended a manipulator, a liar, and a leech, and caused the real victim harm, despite that being what I was trying to avoid in the first place. It's situations like this that have made me stop being an active member of the commentary community. I've recognized that I struggle with being able to take the neutral stance, and that I likely wouldn't be a reliable source of information had I continued to make commentary videos, because I could potentially be spreading lies and hurting innocent people, simply because I don't have it in me to second guess the things I see often and take it all at face value. This whole situation has really cemented in my mind that deciding against being a commentary creator was the right decision. I don't want to try and paint myself as a victim, or throw a pity party for myself, or even try to excuse my actions, because, to put it simply, there's no excusing what I had done. I just wanted to be honest and admit that I was wrong, because it's the right thing to do. Kwite, I don't think you'll ever see this, but in the case that you do, I want to say that I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I had participated in spreading lies about you and causing you further harm than you've already experienced at the hands of Orion. I'm sorry that I didn't look at the accusations with a more critical eye, and at the very least remain neutral in the situation until I knew the full story of what happened. I don't expect you to forgive me, and you're not obligated to. I just want to do what I can to make right what I did wrong. I hope that you're able to recover from all this and that you don't give up on content creation, because a lot of people love you and what you do. But I understand if this whole situation has made it something that you just no longer want to pursue. If you don't come back to YouTube, if you put away that part of your life, then I hope you find success in whatever you decide to do next, and that you find happiness, because you deserve it. I know my video didn't go into extreme detail about what happened, and I'm likely not going to provide evidence in this video. For that, I will link Kwite's response video in the description, where you can see everything for yourself. As I stated before, the purpose of this video was to state my opinions on this whole situation, explain why I'm not going to be a dedicated commentary channel like I had originally planned to do, and most importantly, to own up to what I did wrong and apologize for it. This situation was a very messy one, and it has caused a lot of unnecessary harm to the people involved, and even to those who are merely spectators like myself. And it has really proven to be a lesson for me to learn to look at things like this with a more critical eye, and to just not blindly believe what I see when there's no proper evidence backing it up. I know that if you're subscribed to me for my commentary, that it's probably disappointing to hear that I'm not pursuing that kind of career on YouTube. However, I do have intentions on making this more of a review channel. Specifically, I want to make reviews on movies and video games, and I may also recover some TV shows I've seen, though I don't watch a lot of TV shows, so we'll see where that goes. I want to preface that a vast majority of the movies I would likely be covering are children's animated movies, so movies from Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, the like. I personally have a hard time being invested in movies more geared towards adults, especially live-action movies. Obviously, there are some exceptions to that, like I absolutely adore the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, but there are few movies like that I may cover. If you're interested in seeing that kind of content from me, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, and hey, maybe comment what kind of movies you'd like to see me cover on the channel. Give me some ideas. In the meantime, I wish you all a good day, evening, or night, and stay safe.